Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our Blacklist Season 8 premiere reaction. It is here. I'll just say it right away. I love this episode. I don't know if it is just being starved for new Blacklist content. I don't know if it's just nice to have a show that doesn't look or feel that much different after everything that we went through this summer. I'm glad they didn't really just address stuff in the real world all that much.
I like that there was a focus on Liz and sort of these different family dynamics and sort of how it's actually affecting her.
We also just had some really just great classic Blacklist stuff. We had good music choices throughout. We had some recurring people we always really like. Also, James Spader told a 3-minute monologue about a cat.
It was so good. That was so good. Highlight.
I feel like at least every premiere or every other premiere needs to have some really long, ridiculous Reddington monologue. Like, remember him pretending to be in front of the UN that went on for like 5 minutes and it was amazing?
That was amazing. That was one of the best monologues he's had.
Yeah, can somebody just give Reddington a cat now? Because that one that was staring at him in the middle of the road, clearly it has made a lasting impression.
Yes, it has, and he wants that cat.
Well, we will dive into everything, including what we have learned now about Katarina Rostova, N-13, the Sikorsky, I still can't say it, the archive, Sikorsky archive, maybe that's it, I don't know. But anyway, if you guys do enjoy this video, subscribe for some more updates. We have all sorts of Blacklist goodness at this channel, and we don't want you to miss any of it.
Including a picture of Matt dressed up as Reddington over at our Instagram, which is Matt and Jess TV. So head over there, follow us there, and you can check that out. That's right, right out there.
In addition to that, we did do a video earlier this week. We spoke to John Bokenkamp and John Eisendrath recently, and even though that interview was posted before the premiere, I think there's still a lot of good stuff in there that you might want to know and check out. So we also have that for after you're done. Don't stop watching this one now. We got too much to get to.
Oh man, we have so much to get to.
All right, so I think just the starting off point here is obviously that Liz, she's not going back to the side of Reddington and the task force here so quickly or really at all.
No, this was a really good episode for Liz because it showed us how angry she really is about this situation. And that conversation that she had with Reddington where she was kind of like, last chance, you want to give me some answers or nah? And he was like, oh, no, there are some answers or, some secrets that are just for me. Cool, I get that. She gets that. Fine, that's what you want to do. But that doesn't mean that it's going to stop her from then maybe looking elsewhere, which is what is now happening. I think that conversation was a really important conversation because it was sort of, he had that last chance that she was giving him. And he has the right to keep secrets to himself. We all have our secrets that are just for us, and that's okay. But it's also okay for her not to accept that. I mean, the secrets that he's holding that have to do with her and her sort of family roots and stuff like that, we have to remember that she grew up without a mom. She thought her mom was dead, gone, everything that happened with her dad. And then she's had Sam helping raise her. And it's very difficult to grow up without your parents and not really know kind of who you are, what's going on with that. So you kind of pile on top of that she didn't have that family around her. And then here's a man for 7 years that's like, these are my secrets and I'm going to keep them. And it could give you this sort of solace that you're looking for, that you need to just have answers, good, bad, whatever they are.
I think the struggle here is that it's so easy for all of us, I think, as viewers, to want to just jump right into Reddington's web and be like, hey, Reddington, I'm on your web. We're best friends.
Is this you stuck on the web?
That's me, stuck on the web. He was trying to be like Spider-Man. But it's just ultimately, I think the problem here is that as charismatic and, as much fun as Reddington can be, I imagine it's probably not as much fun when you're hanging out with Reddington and he's basically doing the equivalent of, I know something you don't know, pretty much like all the time to you. And I get why Reddington does what he does. I get why Liz does what she does. But also, it's good to see Reddington just sort of acknowledge in that just awesome scene at the end of the episode with Dembe that this was always something that could happen. It's not something that has blindsided him.
No, and I mean, there have been multiple opportunities for him to, step over this and just let her know whatever is going on, that she needs this. And 7 years, very, very, very long time that she has stood by him and worked with him and tried to get these answers another way. And, he wasn't willing to do that. It was very sort of telling with everything that Liz ended up doing in this episode, just to get these answers that it's okay, I respect you, and that you don't want to tell me, but now you have to understand that this is where I'm going with this.
The part of this mystery that always confounds me, and it is something that will probably continue to confound us all until the series finale or whenever they want to actually give us the goods, is, what secret is so devastating that it can't be said, because even, at the end of season 4, Dembe encouraged Reddington to do this. So if Dembe seemingly thought it was okay at some point, it must there must be a universe where it is okay, where things do end up all right. But I have always had this theory, I could be totally wrong. I think Reddington on some human level is so scared of losing this relationship with Liz that he didn't want to have that secret out. But guess what? He kept the secret and now he's losing that relationship anyway.
Yeah, he is. And it was nice to just hear Liz straight out say what we've all been wondering. Like, what is so devastating about this secret that you can't tell me that, we can't get past together? Like, their relationship, it should be and is strong enough that I think Liz can deal with the truth. She has dealt with a lot with Reddington, with the task force, in her job, in her life. Like, she can deal with it. Like, he needs to just give her a chance.
And I don't know if there's going to be a situation coming up where he's going to shift or something's going to force his hand. I mean, we'll probably find out soon. We may talk about that in the days ahead.
Yeah, I'm actually wondering if now that he's feeling that loss and that last scene with all the Stevie Nicks going on, that was breaking my heart, if this is going to be the thing that actually pushes him to just tell her, because him losing her might be the thing that is one he's going to tell her, and he's just like, I can't lose her. It's not worth it. So here it is.
Right now, Katarina is clearly winning the information battle, and she does this by introducing, finally, I think some things are starting to become a little bit clearer here. So we have this mysterious entity known as N-13.
Yep.
Who seemingly is the archetype behind the Sikorsky archive, this blackmail file of really, really bad stuff that people are doing, and a lot of people out there are just really interested in saying, Katarina, this is all your fault.
Yeah, and that you're N-13. And so now she's in this position where she thinks that either maybe Dom could be that person or Reddington could be that person, and so she's trying to find any sort of proof that anyone else is N-13 so that she can put it out there, clear her name. This is what she's telling Liz.
Of course, the big question here, obviously, beyond whether or not this is actually Katarina, which we've had that discussion a number of times before, is just, is Katarina telling the truth? Like, they explicitly bring up Dom in this episode in Rospet and Dom's story, which was not exactly factual from start to finish.
No, it wasn't.
And here is Liz being told this other yarn by somebody, and there's of course that part of me that's just like, why are you believing her? Like, you've been duped so many times in the past.
And I actually understand why she's believing her, and Katarina said it best, that a daughter, wanting her mother's approval is sort of like one of nature's greatest sort of weapons out there, or needs and wants. And it's 100% true. I mean, and especially when it's someone like Liz who didn't have a mom, and now all of a sudden, decades later, she has an opportunity. I understand that want so much. When she said that, I was like, oh, I feel like that's going to be hitting a lot of daughters out there right where it hurts, because we all know that that is true.
I just thought of this. This may be really, really crazy. Okay, so if this Katarina's not real, if this is a fake Katarina, which that line you just mentioned, it's kind of diabolical the way that she said it.
It really is, because, I mean, it's true, but because most mother and daughters have a love and a trust, mothers don't use it as a weapon against their children and their daughters. They give their daughters that approval because they want their daughters to do well and grow up feeling loved.
Well, if this is a fake Katarina, and I don't think it is, I think this is the real Kat, but what if this person really is N-13, and they're trying to find a way to just shove this onto somebody else, and in a way, I think what I do love about this sort of speech that Katarina gives Liz, where she's basically like, Reddington could be a mole, he could be working to get information, and then she's like working to get information from Katarina and Reddington. They are now the meme of the Spider-Men pointing at each other, because Liz is just sitting here like, okay, what do you guys want from me at this point?
Yeah, and it was also very interesting because there was a moment where Katarina referred to Reddington as this man that's presenting himself as Reddington, not as Reddington, but this man who is saying that he's Reddington. And it was sort of one of the few first times where it's really kind of come out that she may not think that this is Reddington, or she may know that this is not him.
Yeah, that is a hugely important moment, because so much in the time that we've seen this Katarina, like, she has referred to him as Reddington, like, regardless of whether or not she believes it, but her basically admitting in a way that she doesn't know who this Reddington is, like, welcome to the club, first and foremost, Katarina. Like, we've been here for a while, but I think it is important to sort of know that, okay, well, I believe that Ilya probably knows who this Reddington is, because if they were friends for a long period of time, like, he would be aware of that. But Ilya and Katarina were close way back when, so clearly either this Reddington didn't want Katarina to know, or Ilya didn't want Katarina to know because he thought that this Reddington could hurt her in some way.
It's just interesting for her to know this or say something like this, that she's sort of recognizing to everyone that this isn't actually Reddington, but she has not said anything all this time. And also just more so that Liz had no reaction to that.
No, Liz was pretty stone-faced through a lot of this, really.
Yeah, she was, which still gives me some sort of hope that, yes, she is obviously being manipulated by this person who is saying that they are her mother, and that is something that happens where, like I said, daughters do want mothers' approvals. But, like, it gets us also to maybe where Liz is. I'm still an FBI agent. I'm still really good at this job. I know we haven't seen as much of that the past few years, where it's like you've got Katarina Rostova living across the hall, and you're like, come on in and have a tea. And we're all over here being really frustrated by it, being like, you are an FBI agent.
It's true. And the thing is, I think Liz is not Team Katarina. Liz is Team Liz. And I think we have to just continue to focus on that, even if we get frustrated with her, that I think she's siding with Katarina because Katarina's offering her something. She's willing to go along with this for the time being. But, how far she's willing to go with this, like, that brings us into the subject here of Dom, who's thrown into all of it.
Oh, yeah. As soon as Katarina had turned to Liz and was like, no, you're going to get the answers. We're not going necessarily in this darker route of torture, but it's going to be torture for Liz anyways. And for Dom, this is his granddaughter.
Let's get into the Dom of it all here for a moment, because I'll admit, there's a new actor obviously playing Dom. Brian Dennehy is no longer with us, and it's no fault to the new actor. I don't think he's done a bad job by any means. But it was the hardest part of the episode for me to just sort of mentally transition, because Brian Dennehy was just so good as this character for so long.
Yeah, he was.
It was still good, and I think it's important that Dom was still on the show, because I know, John Bokekeep told us way back when they thought about killing Dom off at the start of season 7. They didn't do it because there was more story to tell. Clearly, there is more story to tell, where it seems like Dom eventually could be the person between him and Reddington that eventually breaks.
Yeah, I mean, that whole scene with him being transported where he was just like, you don't understand, and it's very hard for me to sort of not tell you, but keep this secret, like, you don't understand the position I'm in, and having Liz be like, yeah, I don't understand, so no sympathy for you. I was like, oh boy, all right.
Yeah, Dom's like almost dying in the back of the, and I was like, I want to say I feel for Dom, but I think the hard thing is, do I want to sympathize with Dom without actually knowing fully everything Dom is responsible for? Plus, that whole thing about Dom and the soldier that Katarina said, like, that's awful if that happened. Like,
oh, that is awful if that happened, but I mean, it would have been a dark time where things like that were probably happening.
Yeah, and it sounds like that was a part of the currency back there where they were. It's just, Dom is clearly a person who tilts on his own sort of weird sense of morality.
Yep.
We don't know exactly where this guy lands. I am really worried for Dom in the next few episodes, I'll say that.
Well, I feel like they're going to keep Dom alive at least as long as Liz is there. I don't think Liz is going to want, as I said, she grew up kind of as an orphan mostly for most of her life, so she didn't have both of her biological parents there, so to have a grandfather who is her biological grandfather, I think it's going to be very difficult for her to, do something of that. And we have seen Liz do some dark things and kill some people. But I think with him having answers, she's going to keep him alive. She needs those answers. Katarina, on the other hand, as soon as she gets those answers, Dom will be done.
Yeah, I don't think Katarina is really in all that much of a hurry to keep Dom alive if she gets exactly what she wants out of him.
No.
But there's 2 moments of exceptional trickery in this episode that I think we must discuss. Like,
Yep.
Number 1, the whole, the Roanoke rope-a-dope, if you will, where they totally pulled, I thought this was particularly fun that our blacklister for the episode, number 139, not that important, but really our blacklister had like 2 minutes of actual relevancy in the whole episode.
I thought that was a really cool twist. It wasn't something that I saw coming, which was great. I love that 8 seasons in that this show still surprises me, where it's like, oh yeah, he exists, but he's in this home being cared for, and he had actually nothing to do with anything.
It makes me feel better too, because I remember when we heard the title for this, is like, they were promising all these big reveals, and you've just titled the premiere some rando that I've never heard of before.
Yeah, and he didn't play much of a role.
I'm cool with that. The Keenler Nation right now may be feeling all the feelings, because, like, there's, when Liz and Wrestler kissed close to the end, there was a part of me that was like, good for all the people who've been rooting for them. I have kind of come around and been rooting a little bit for them more. I was like, okay, this is good. Maybe they're starting to... Then, like, Liz pulls away with the gun. It's like, oh, no, this is ending badly.
And I love that was his actual reaction, where he saw the gun and he was like, oh, crap.
It was basically Wrestler just being like, oops.
And I understand why he would trust her and this would happen. And I'm not saying, like, that the kiss didn't feel something. Clearly it felt something for Wrestler. He didn't realize he was getting duped.
And I think it meant something for Liz, because she wouldn't have been aware that would have worked unless she had sort of assessed the situation and felt like there was chemistry there. Yep. So I don't think it was nothing. I don't know if Wrestler is going to be too keen to get back on board the Keenler train anytime soon after that, though.
I think he is still going to be on the train. I mean, it's not like she took the gun and shot him in the foot or something.
No, that's true. This is Task Force. We're in a weird spot. It's like early on in the episode, Liz totally sort of, I think she tricks them at the start, where she's like, oh, I'm going to give you guys this information, Katarina Rostova, that she's out there. This is who it is. Coming clean.
Yeah, you guys can trust me. I was just like, okay, well, we all watching know that we can't trust her.
This is the hope for everyone out there who wants Liz back with the task force. Liz doesn't keep secrets very well, so...
Oh my goodness, she did not keep that Ilya's Reddington secret at all. She told everybody within a couple of episodes.
Yeah, so there is hope that everything will turn around, that the task force and her, they can get back together, but you could just see Aram was in pain having to call her in at the end of this.
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, the task force, they've worked with her for so long now, and I mean, Cooper, he's done with it too. I mean, I think everybody just kind of wants to get the team back together again and actually all be on the same page. But it's just so difficult with, you know, Reddington having this connection to Liz. Now, the mother has got this connection in with Liz. Like, the task force should have really known that they can't trust her because she is in this position where it's family or work. And what are you going to pick, right? Most people in life, they're not picking work.
Yeah, the task force should probably have known a little bit better something like this could happen, given Liz did go on the run from them for like a while at the start of season 3.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's a trustworthy place, clearly, the FBI task force. You know, Aram doesn't want to have any bad feelings towards Liz.
No.
I always pick on Aram because he's the character who needs the most socially distanced hugs, like 99% of the time.
I love him.
I really enjoyed this episode. It was nice to have it back.
Yeah, no, it was great. And it focused in, I love, you know, of course, having Blacklisters, and I love everything that James Spader does. But it was nice to sort of have a little more like a solid footing with Liz and really map out like what it is that is really driving her, why she's really falling for all this stuff with Katarina, and a bit more of just her, you know, this background coming in that she had no mom, she had no dad. Now she's got this mother in front of her. And yeah, that one line from Katarina really like painted a big picture here of why Liz is down this hole.
All right, guys, now is the time. We got to hear from you. Do you trust Katarina? Is it the real Katarina? Yeah, you probably don't trust Katarina, but what do you think about the new reveals about N-13, the Sikorsky archive, what this all means for the future of the show? Share in the comments, and of course, if you did enjoy this video, subscribe, give us a like, support us further. Check those links to the store, our Patreon, and we'll see you here next time.